Yeah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Lola?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hola, Dan.
Welcome, everyone. I believe we're here live on YouTube, and I'm with my friend Lola Camacho, who is a very interesting person who does a very interesting therapy. My name is Dan Stott. I'm the creator of the Body Empathy Method, an expert in stress management. Also created the Healthy Pain-Free Body Formula. But I'm here really to introduce you to my friend Lola, who is a therapist and educator and does a very special work. Her method is called the Ataya method. She has her YouTube channel, which is Lola Camacho, LOLACAMACHO. And her work is really about, it's called, what is the name of it again, Lola? The initials? It's a tricky name. PmHT. Okay, that's it. I had to put my glasses on.
Bien, lo diré en castellano. El método se llama Ataya PmHT de psicomagnetohidroterapia.
Wow. Okay. I think the abbreviation is something like psychomagnetic hydration therapy. Something like that.
Muy bien.
And so I'm here basically to help you better understand, to learn about and appreciate this work that Lola is doing. And I think it's a work that is very much needed in today's world when there is so much pollution of all different types that ends up affecting us at a very deep level, even at the cellular level. For example, we are surrounded continually by electromagnetic fields and impulses that are hitting us and affecting our body at a very deep level, although we may not be very conscious of it. And so her work is in part about affecting our body at a energetic level, these magnetic fields, and she does it in a very interesting way. She does it through working with water by actually restructuring the water at the molecular level. Is that correct, Lola?
Sí. Gracias por tu traducción y por transmitir en inglés, Dan. Muchas gracias por tu acompañamiento.
Thank you for, she said, thank you for my help in helping to transmit and accompany her in English. I will be acting, as you can see, as her translator and interpreter.
Gracias. Bien, efectivamente, el método está basado en la reestructuración molecular de nuestra agua interna.
So the method is in fact based on the restructuring at the molecular level of the water inside our body, our inner water.
Es muy importante en estos tiempos.
It's very important in these times in particular.
Entender que el humano,
to understand how the human beings or humans
tenemos una estructura no solo física,
that we have a structure that's not only physical,
sino también es la estructura molecular de un campo de energía humana.
But it's also like a molecular structure at the level of like an energy field, human energy field.
Yeah. Los impactos de toxicidad por los excesos de miedos,
the toxic impacts of excessive fear, for example,
de radiaciones que son tóxicas para el humano,
radiation that is toxic for we humans,
excesos de consumo tecnológico,
an excessive consumption of technological things, which also have their radiation, their vibration,
o del uso digital.
or including simply using digital devices like the cell phone, like the computer, things like that, right?
Ujú. Entonces, la estructura molecular del agua puede ser distorsionada.
So the molecular structure of water can be distorted by these emanations or radiations.
Ujú. Por cualquier agente que no sea natural,
By any agent that is not natural, it can all influence our water, our molecular structure of water. Is that what you're saying?
que no sea natural para nuestro sistema celular.
Tell me again. That it's not natural for
Cual-
our
cualquier,
system.
cualquier agente que no es natural
Hmm.
puede distorsionar nuestra memoria de agua celular.
Okay, so any substance that is not natural can actually distort the memory the cellular memory of our water. Apparently, the water has a certain cellular memory, correct?
Bien. Y también nuestros pensamientos negativos o pensamientos bajo el miedo, la intensidad del miedo.
Okay, so also our fears and the intensity of our fears also affect our body at the cellular level and the water and the memory of the water in our cells.
Bien. Estos son algunos ejemplos, en realidad existen muchos más.
These are just some examples, but in reality, there are a lot more.
Bien, el método ofrece una forma rápida de volver a nuestra estructura original.
So the method, Lola's method Ataya, is a means of restructuring or recovering the natural structure of the water molecules very quickly.
Nos permite también fortalecer la estructura a través del método, hacer más fuerte la estructura molecular.
And it also helps to actually strengthen the structure of the molecules.
Bien, en primer lugar, para permanecer en esa estructura original
All
el
right,
máximo de tiempo posible,
in order to remain in this ideal or natural structure as long as possible,
voy a compartir en un momento un documento interesante con relación al campo electromagnético humano.
okay, I'm going to show you in just a moment this image which talks about the magnetic field of the body.
Es una imagen que nos proporciona la cámara Kirlian.
It's an image from the Kirlian photographic camera.
Esta imagen es una electrografía.
It's an electrograph.
Donde podemos ver 3 campos de energía diferentes.
Where we can see 3 different energy fields.
Bien. El campo de bioplasma es la parte que rodea el cuerpo físico.
The bioplasmic field is the field that surrounds the human body.
También conocido como el fuego cósmico.
Also known as cosmic fire.
Contiene todos los códigos para nuestra configuración humana.
It contains all of the codes for our configuration as humans.
De nuestro sistema molecular.
Configuration of our molecular system, that is.
Sistema de orden molecular.
Or the system of molecular order.
También a nivel universal.
As well as at a universal level.
Bien, cuando sufrimos impactos tóxicos del entorno,
when we suffer toxic influences or impacts from our environment,
con el tiempo se van a producir unas fugas o fisuras de energía.
over time, there's going to be some leaks or some openings of energy.
Como podemos ver aquí en esta electrografía,
As we can see in this electrograph,
las personas están perdiendo su integridad energética, conocido también como conciencia.
so as we can see in these images, people are losing their energetic integrity, also known as consciousness.
La conciencia superior es esta banda que cubre todo nuestro sistema energético.
The higher consciousness is what covers our entire energetic system.
Conocido también como el yo cuántico.
El qué? What cuántico?
O el ser superior.
Okay, known as like our higher self or our quantic self, ser. Okay, now I hear you.
Vale. Aquí hay todos los códigos para reequilibrar nuestro sistema de forma íntegro, en coherencia.
Here are all of the codes we need to recover our normal coherence energetically.
Es un campo de energía puro.
It's a pure energy field.
Si los impactos tóxicos de radiación artificial,
if these artificial impacts of radiation
alcanzan nuestro campo de energía,
when they reach our energy field,
por un exceso de horas,
for an excessive amount of time,
podemos sufrir fisuras o fugas, como estamos viendo en esta foto.
we can experience cracks and leaks, as is shown in this photo, energetically speaking.
Pongo las radiaciones como un ejemplo, pero también sucede con excesos de estrés o cualquier otro tipo de excesos.
So these fissures or openings or leaking can happen not only in response to impacts from unhealthy magnetic influences, electromagnetic influences, but also in response to stress and unhealthy or unpleasant emotions.
Todo es un tema de dosis.
It's all a question of doses or the amount, the quantity.
Entonces, cuando estamos demasiado tiempo expuestos a una toxicidad, nuestra radiación humana se va a ver debilitada.
So when we were exposed for too long a time to some toxic influence, our energetic field is going to become weakened.
En estos momentos es importante aprender.
Now it's very important to learn
Una técnica o la técnica que ofrezco para la reestructuración rápida.
to really find and use a technique for rapid restructuring
de nuestro campo electromagnético humano.
Of our human electromagnetic field or energy field, or field of consciousness.
Ofrezco la técnica para el reequilibrio y reestructuración rápida.
So I'm offering a technique for a rapid restructuring of our energy field.
Y fortalecer este campo de energía.
and also for strengthening our energy field.
El agua, nuestra agua molecular, tiene un papel muy importante en mantener nuestra estructura molecular.
So our water molecules have a very important role in maintaining our overall cellular and structural integrity.
El humano es un campo de onda de ionización.
The human beings, we are a field of electromagnetic ionization.
Cada uno debe ser responsable de su propio cuidado.
And everyone is responsible for their own care.
La tecnología es una herramienta muy buena para acompañar al hombre.
Technology is a very useful tool for helping people, for accompanying people or helping them.
Pero si el hombre o la mujer no sabe hacer el uso adecuado de la tecnología, nuestro campo de radiación se puede ver afectado.
But if a man or woman doesn't know how to use their use technology actually effectively, then it's going to have a negative effect on our electromagnetic field or energy field.
Antiguamente,
in the past,
se hablaba, nos comentaban que nos mantuviéramos a 1,5 metros de un microondas.
In the past, they suggested that we should remain 1.5 meters away from a microwave, for example.
Actualmente nadie recuerda ni menciona este detalle.
Yeah. In reality, these days, no one even talks about that.
Cuando en realidad llevamos un microondas constantemente encima.
When in reality, we have a microwave constantly over us.
El hombre debe ser dueño de su campo de energía humano.
Mankind should be the owner and the controller of his or her own energy field.
Y aprender a utilizar las nuevas tecnologías.
And learn how to use these new technologies.
Mantener en gran parte del día aparatos móviles a 1,5 metros de nuestro campo de energía es casi impensable.
So to maintain or to keep these electromagnetic devices like cell phones and computers at more than 1.5 meters of difference, for most of us is basically impossible.
Hay muchas formas de poner conciencia para no excedernos en las horas de uso.
And there are a lot of ways to actually keep us reasonably protected or safe from these influences when we are using them throughout the day.
Podemos crear en nuestro hogar o en el trabajo una zona de multimedia.
We can create a multimedia environment in our home or workplace.
Y proponernos depositar en esa zona los móviles en mayor parte del tiempo.
And make sure to keep our devices, our electromagnetic devices like cell phones and computers, in this particular space, like limiting it to just this space. Is that correct? Is that what you mean, in just one space?
Sí, en una zona específica para aparatos móviles, por ejemplo, u otros aparatos de que funcionan con wifi, ¿no? Como tablets, etc.
Right. All of our devices that function with a Wi-Fi should be kept in one place.
El ser humano es como este vaso de agua en su interior.
Human beings are like this glass of water inside, on the inside.
Puede tener su estructura lo más cristal posible y transparente, brillante.
Can have the clearest and most brilliant internal structure like this water.
Si no cuidamos nuestra agua
And if we
interior,
don't take care of our inner water,
las influencias electromagnéticas y tóxicas del entorno
the electromagnetic and toxic influences in our environment
van a influir en la estructura molecular de nuestra agua interna.
they're going to be included in the molecular structure of our inner water,
ocasionando un desorden o una destructuración.
and this is going to cause a disordering or disintegration or destructuring of the molecule at the level of the water molecules.
Sí. El agua es conductiva.
Water is conductive.
Es muy importante tener nuestro cuerpo, nuestro interior, cuidado con el tipo de alimentos que consumimos y también cuidar el entorno en el que vivimos.
So it's very important to take care of our environment in terms of both the food we consume, what we put into our body, and the immediate environment that surrounds our body.
La técnica del método Ataya,
The technique of the Ataya method
ofrece la simbiosis de vida
is to offer a symbiosis in life
entre el hombre y la tecnología.
between man or mankind or womankind, humankind, and technology.
Nos ayuda, nos permite permanecer en esa estructura molecular de nuestra agua interior ordenada.
It helps us to stay inside our inner water and to keep that inner water well structured and with a kind of structural integrity.
Me entristece muchísimo cuando veo mujeres embarazadas.
Okay. Right. She said, I feel very sad when I see pregnant women.
Con su agua sagrada, líquido amniótico.
With their sacred inner water.
Y el móvil encima del embrión, prácticamente.
The cell phone almost directly on top of the embryo.
Las radiaciones traspasan absolutamente todo y recordemos que el agua es conductiva.
The radiations from the cell phone pass through everything. And remember, water is conductive.
Bien, mi deseo es compartir la concienciación de nuestra radiación de energía humana.
So I'm going to interpret it. What I really want to do is to show you how to influence and affect in a positive way our inner radiation, our inner structure energetically.
Cuando las personas se sienten muy cansadas y agotadas,
when people feel really tired and exhausted and burned out,
en el 90% de los casos,
in 90% of the cases,
es un motivo,
it's a motive
es por un motivo de desgaste energético.
All right. It is caused by sort of a loss of energy, an overuse or loss of energy.
Sí, la fuga energética, el desgaste energético, es decir, viene por un exceso de pensamientos, de estar pensando y pensando y pensando todo el día y dándole vueltas a muchas cosas, o sea, por un motivo mental.
So this loss of energy comes into a large degree from just being mentally active all the time, so mentally active that we begin to sort of leak and lose our energy. The energy begins to escape from our energy field.
Por un agotamiento psíquico.
And this eventually happens, results in, and comes from a kind of psychic burnout.
Y también, en ese 90% de los casos, por motivos de nuestro desgaste del campo de energía electromagnético. Esas fugas que hemos visto antes en la fotografía.
As well as from the simple energetic leaking and losing of energy from our electromagnetic energy field, as were shown earlier in the images.
El poder del campo de energía humano o el campo de energía humano es muy poderoso.
The human energy field is very powerful.
Y siempre digo y diré que la tecnología es una imitación del ser humano.
And I always say that technology is an imitation of the human being, sort of based on the human being.
El humano también tiene su banda ancha de Wi-Fi, que es igual que el campo electromagnético humano, es como la banda de Wi-Fi.
Okay, and human beings also have their broad branch, which is also like that of Wi-Fi.
Y tenemos nuestros códigos binarios.
And we have our binary codes too.
Estamos conectados a nuestro plasma universal natural.
We're connected to our own inner universal plasma.
Que no es lo mismo que el plasma artificial.
That is not the same as plasma, as artificial plasma.
La radiación es diferente.
The radiation or vibration is different.
Bien, no me quiero extender más.
Okay.
Es un tema muy extenso.
I really don't want to say more about it because it's a very extensive theme.
Lo importante es que la humanidad tome responsabilidad y el autocuidado sobre su propio campo de energía.
You know, the important thing is that people take responsibility for their own energy field.
Los electrones de nuestro campo de radiación,
The electrons of our magnetic field,
los podemos perder con mucha facilidad hoy en día.
we can lose them very easily today, in today's world.
Y eso significa perder fuerza de voluntad.
And this means a loss of strength and a loss of willpower.
Con la técnica que ofrezco, aprendemos a generar y regenerar nuestros electrones.
And with the technique that I offer, we learn how to generate and regenerate our ions, electrical ions.
Si yo estoy agotada energéticamente, no tengo energía para compartir contigo, Dan.
If I am too tired and burned out energetically, I don't have the strength to share and to contribute to others.
Y ahora está de moda decir, voy a buscar un amigo o una amiga vitamina.
And now it's kind of the fashion to say, I'm going to look for a vitamin friend.
No es justo.
But it's not fair. That's not fair.
Debemos ser todos vitaminas unos para otros.
Yeah, we really have to be vitamins, one for the other. No, each of us has to be a vitamin for the other.
Y tener la energía para nutrir y para dar también a los demás.
And have the energy to nourish ourselves as well as to give nourishment to others.
De esto depende nuestra calidad de vida y nuestro bienestar, nuestra felicidad.
And this depends on our quality of life and our well-being.
Esta educación es importante para nuestros hijos.
This education is very important for our children
y nuestros descendientes.
and our descendants.
Entre todos, de todos depende de cómo cuidemos el planeta en función de nuestra propia radiación.
And it all depends on how we take care of ourselves in our own energy field.
Tiene su influencia también en el planeta, en el entorno, en el ecosistema.
It has its influence. We have our influence also on our environment, our ecosystem, our energy field, that of the whole planet.
Si mantenemos nuestra fuerza y nuestra coherencia, ese orden molecular,
if we can keep our inner order and structure at a molecular level,
nuestro corazón brillará.
¿Nuestro corazón qué?
Nuestro corazón brillará en coherencia.
Brillarán, okay, thank you. Our heart will shine. It will illuminate the space. It will illuminate others.
En coherencia, estará en coherencia.
And we will be in harmony with our environment and with other people.
Muy bien. Este es el mensaje para hoy. Un abrazo grande y te doy muchísimas gracias por tu traducción tan maravillosa.
Okay, this is all for today. It's been a great pleasure to express myself, share myself with you. Thanks, Dan, for the translation. And I want to mention to everyone who's watching that on the 12th and 13th in Barcelona, Lola will be giving a workshop in her Ataya method of restructuring the water at a molecular level. So you can contact her at lolacamacho.com or maybe send a message, a little note in the comments section of the YouTube channel. And that way she can send you more information about the event, which I believe will be in Spanish. But if there's enough of a demand of English speakers, maybe we will have a bilingual event with translation in English too.
I do speak a little bit, and I can read, I would say, enough to understand if someone wants to take a workshop. But I don't speak so right like you.
Well, that's true. I have an advantage
So well like you.
being a native speaker. But you see, Lola does speak English, but she wants to be sure that she is understood as well as possible by the people listening to her. And that's why she's asked me for my help in acting as like a translator interpreter. But she can speak English. So you can talk with her.
Sí, las palabras son un tanto especiales a nivel, son como más técnicas y me conforta saber que tú eres quien traduces. Gracias, Dan.
Okay, so she said that the words are very important, very special, and it's important that they be translated well so that people understand them as much as possible. It's my pleasure, Lola. It's been a pleasure for me to listen to you tell me about your method again. And I hope that a lot of people will realize the special value that it can have for them. And they will become curious and want to know more about what it is that you're actually doing.
Muchísimas gracias, Dan. Que todo el mundo recuerde que energía es vida. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Dan. And everyone, please remember that life is energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lola.